Welcome to Impact Masters Podcast in collaboration with Africa's Talking Retold Podcast, where every conversation sparks new insights. Join us as we delve into the stories of extraordinary individuals who are shaping our world, movers and shakers in tech, policymakers, entrepreneurs, entertainers, and all those whose stories are worth telling. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and transformed. Welcome, and let's embark on this journey of discovery together. Impact Masters Podcast. You can check us out on all social media platforms. You can also find us across all podcast channels. Simply search for Impact Masters, then subscribe, follow, and share. www.impactmasters.io. Here's your host, Michael Kamathi.
Because now it's a boarding school. I am sleeping in the dormitory.
Where you have to prepare your bed.
Yes.
Make sure you are clean.
Yes.
Your clothes, you wash them.
Completely.
Yes.
Luckily, at the age of 9, as you go to 10, we used to have aunties. We used to call them aunties who used to wash our clothes.
Oh, because you are a bit young. Yeah.
We were a bit young. But then when we got to age 10, at standard 4, we had to start washing our own clothes. And so it instilled a sense of discipline and responsibility. And this school was very high on academics and discipline. Umesikia, you've had the school motto itself.
Yes.
Good conduct and passing exams.
Yes. Until today, that's the motto.
I think the motto has now changed.
Okay.
Because now I think the school has gone through a rebrand.
Okay.
In fact, I see even the school uniform is now different. But then, those days, even now, the people who came to that school, being a boarding school, not only people from Kirinyaga.
Yeah, it's all over.
It was very cosmopolitan. So people from Nairobi. In fact, I remember we had colleagues from Tanzania.
Oh.
I remember, and that's actually the first time I ever dealt with an international student. Now, interesting that now at Africa is Talking,
you're doing international business.
We are doing international business.
Yes.
But my first experience with international business was my classmates, Mburule Jeremiah and Boniface Ngogo, Benjamin Ngogo. They were from Tanzania.
Yes.
And generally the school was mixed school. But then now, people from all parts of the country.
And backgrounds.
Different backgrounds.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So, were you performing well with this indiscipline and, heavy-headed and getting in trouble, and now you get here, the discipline is good and you have to pass your exam?
Yes. Something happened. Let me just take you back a little bit so that I answer your question.
Yes.
At Kenyatta University, and I always remember this teacher, Mrs. Kio and Mrs. Muiruri. We were very many students in one class. And I can't remember how I used to perform at Kenyatta University. But I don't ever remember being at the top. But something happened. When I moved to Kenyatta University, I was asked to repeat class 2. Because remember, I was in Kenyatta University in 97. I was in 96. I was in class 1. 97. I was actually in class 2. But then when I moved and I came and did my interview,
you remain in class 2.
They said you're going to remain in class 2. I topped my class. When I joined class 2 in Karuga municipality, I don't know how, but I topped my class. I was the best. In 98, I was the best in 99. I was the best in 2000. I was basically top of my class.
Always.
In fact, I still look at my transcripts now, and I wonder, now I'll be when I'm talking to my children, I'll be telling you, you see, I was actually number 1, not the proverbial one for parents.
Yes.
But I was actually on top of the class.
Yes.
And as I was beaten a lot. You remember now, those days, it was not like now.
Yeah.
We used to be disciplined properly.
Yeah.
So my discipline became of very high standard. Because out of this being guided and also being punished, I started becoming a good boy, very good boy.
Disciplined.
Very disciplined, clean boy, very responsible. At class 4, I became class prefect. And from there, we never looked back. I was class prefect until
So you are on leadership from class 4.
So I started leadership from class 4 until university. So I was a school captain in charge of dining hall in primary. I was a school captain in charge of environment in high school.
Yes.
And I was a student union president at the university. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes.
So you go to high school. And you're a teenager then, a lot of things are happening. You're best student. I don't know, which high school did you go to?
I went to Kianyaga High School. Kianyaga
Still
Boys
in Kirinyaga?
High School in Kirinyaga.
Yeah.
That's where the Deputy President attended school as well. Deputy President Kashagwa. He's an old boy.
The current Gashagwa.
The current Deputy President is an old boy of Kianyaga High School.
Yes.
And Kianyaga High School, those days used to be the mighty Kianyaga High School.
They could only compete with Kagumo.
Oh, that was the league. In fact, the likes of, you've heard of Senator, the former Senator Karaba was principal at Kianyaga High School and I think went to Kagumo High School.
Yes.
But it was in that league. And let me tell you, Kianyaga boys used to be known. If you heard that you went to Kianyaga boys,
you are a serious person.
You are a very serious fellow.
You're going to make it in life.
You are going to make it in life. In fact, I remember when we did I was disappointed because, in fact, at the time, I wanted to go to Nairobi High School. So when we did our KCPE, at that time we had, it was out of 500. And I scored well because I scored 405. I was not the best. The best in our stream in a year that time was my good friend Eric Kenywa, currently in Australia. He scored possible 420 out of 500.
Yes.
And now that I've mentioned Eric Kenywa, we were the very naughty boys.
Both of you.
When we joined, because we joined the same year in class 2. So we joined together.
But with a very bad discipline, you're all over.
Yes.
You don't want to hear anyone's advice.
But then you see now, I watched someone like Kenywa. Kenywa become a champion in terms of his academics.
Yes.
I'm still audible.
Yeah, you're good.
Very good.
Yes.
So Eric was number 1, 420. And I think I was among the top 10. I scored 405. And I even went to Nairobi School before admission. And I went and I applied and said, I want to come here. And I even went to see the principal then. And I said, I even have the letter that I wrote, I want to come here.
Why Nairobi School though?
I don't know why, because I think I had good things of Nairobi School.
Not Alliance, no Stare.
I didn't want, because I think at the time I had gotten to class 8, I was no longer the top student. So I knew the likes.
Alliance is out, Stare is out.
Yes. The likes of my colleagues, Eric Kenywa and my friend Simon Omuremi, they were the top students.
Okay.
So I knew, in fact, Eric ended up in Mangu. And a few others now went to Starehe, some went to Alliance.
Yes.
So now I was in my area. Now those people who got the 400s, we went to the provincial school now, Kianyaga High School. So that's how I landed in Kianyaga High School. But I think my experience at Kianyaga is not comparable to
Nairobi School.
Not to primary, my primary experience.
Okay.
Kianyaga was, by the time I joined, Kianyaga was a very laid back school. First of all, I'm not sure I really liked
the experience there.
The experience.
Yeah.
We were monolized. No, I remember when we joined, monolization
was
or
a
bullying
serious thing,
was a serious thing. In fact, when you just walked into the gate with your parent, the Form 4s and Form 3s are looking at you with their eyes wide open. And they're doing like this.
You're welcome here.
You're welcome here. And we were very scared. Because I remember the day I joined Kianyaga High School.
Yes.
I was taken there. And after my parents left, I was left at the mercies of the older boys. And everything that I owned, the shopping I was told I carried, everything vanished,
including new school uniform.
with time, new school uniform vanished. And we used to sleep on trees sometimes because we could not go to the dormitory. Because now the older boys were very rough, were very bad. You could not be seen at that time going to bed before the Form 3s and Form 4s
Are asleep.
asleep. So you used to go tiptoeing.
If you wake up the big boys,
If you wake up the big boys,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. And it was really bad because I remember one of our colleagues who used to be in Form 2 when we were in Form 1. I remember, I think his name was Ginone. Ginone was hit with a hockey stick. In fact, one of the requirements when you were opening
you
school,
go to the hockey stick.
you go with a hockey stick.
Yeah.
Ginone was hit by a hockey stick and his eye was almost popping out. So it was a very bad culture. I hear now people are no longer molesting people or bullying people. But that was the experience. So that experience at Form 1, first of all, made me really not like the environment. And then I also realized that the boys there were not serious. You know, people are not serious on academics. People are very lackluster, you know. And I love excellence.
Yes. Even from the discipline, consistent discipline from,
I'm coming from Karuga municipality where there is order, there is proper discipline.
Yeah.
I'm coming to
focus.
And I feel the older boys don't shower, they are stinking. So, you know, and I think that was a common thing with the boys' schools where I think people don't really even go. People don't go to shower.
Yes.
People shower once a week or whatever, or when you're going home.
Yes.
So I was very fearful. But then I became class prefect. I was appointed class prefect. I was elected actually at Form 1, Form 1X.
Yes.
Remember one of my good friends, Peterson Owero, proposed that I be elected president. Not president, be elected class prefect. And I became class prefect.
You were on the same class with this Wawero?
Yes, and we came with him from primary.
Okay.
So we were a good chunk of us.
Okay.
So in fact, Peterson Wawero was my best friend from when we were in primary school. So he proposed,
this chief can lead us.
This chief can lead us.
Yes.
And you see, naturally, I think I was a very strict person. So when I became class prefect, now it was very tough because I love discipline and I love order. So my colleagues, of course, did not like me. Because now as a
you
class
started
prefect,
developing enemies.
Yes, of course, now and I was very tough. Because you're not going to go and make noise in class when others are reading. You're not going to fail to wash the class. And I told you to wash to wash the class. It's your duty. So they always know. They always knew that when you're dealing with Kevin, you have to do it right.
Yes.
You will hate him,
but it has to be done.
It has to be done.
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember our class teacher at that time, Mrs. Muriuki, was also a very good lady.
Yeah.
I used to go and tell her, because now people are already hating.
Yeah,
they don't
let
like
me resign. You know.
I even wrote a resignation letter.
Yeah, let me focus on my studies. This is too much for me.
May I just focus on my studies? This was too much. Because I think as a young man, as a young boy, I felt now these other guys are hating me because I'm a prefect. And those days, if you remember, sometimes there used to be strikes. If you remember the Changuli or something where
people banned each other.
Used to ban each other. So I used to wonder, if I'm a prefect
and people ban each other, I'm going to prison.
Are they going to ban me?
There's that. Yeah.
Or are they going to attack me?
What? Yeah. So already you are fearing for your life.
Yes. And now, of course, my classmates used to go and tell the bigger boys, this guy, Nimauzo.
He's a snitch.
He's a snitch. He's the class prefect. Now the other older boys used to look at me with their eyes wide open. So,
and I can assume there's a lot of illegal business going on in that school.
Oh yeah, always. In all these schools, there is always something happening.
Contraband selling and all that.
All those things.
Yeah.
But then I stood for Mrs. Murioki told me, no.
You have to stand your ground.
You're not resigning. You are the prefect that was chosen. You continue. But then, now that I've come from primary school, I have started. I was a bright student in primary. But when I joined Form 1, something happened. Something called physics. something called biology, something called chemistry. Oh my God.
There's no multiple choice.
There was something called... that's when I actually realized I'm not a science student. I'm more of the arts.
Linguistic.
Because physics, I remember Bunsen Banner was in physics, was in chemistry, I think.
Yeah, and also physics.
And also physics. Because now, first of all, we were told to label the Bunsen Banner. I could not remember the parts of the Bunsen Banner. I remember I performed dismally in the science subjects. And I remember our chemistry teacher, Mr. Mwaneki, I will not say his nickname. Actually, let me say his nickname because we used to call him Beryllium.
Man, he's from Kirinyaga. What did you expect him to say?
Yes. And Beryllium was an element.
Was he from Kirinyaga?
Yes, he's from Kirinyaga.
You can't expect anything else.
An excellent chemistry teacher.
Yes.
And then, of course, now we used to call him Kamberi. Later on, Mr. Mwaneki used to come and when he's giving us our scripts, Sema Karuga, Kevin Karuga, alipata nunge. You know? So he used to...
And that really used to hurt you.
He used to hurt me. He used to hurt me. The mathematics teacher was excellent, Mr. Kara. But then he could see that I was really struggling with math.
Okay.
And I really struggled with the math and the sciences. But when it came to the humanities, I was the best.
Yes.
When it came to English, hands down, I was the best. So I started getting a bit of a low self-esteem because now I am not able to perform very well because these subjects are pulling me down. Even if I get straight A's in English,
the mean score is not really...
The mean score is not where I want it to be.
Yeah.
And then I am a prefect. And ideally, as a prefect...
Yeah. You're supposed to be excellent.
You need to be excellent. In fact, one time Mrs. Muriuki, the class teacher, called me and told me now, you have to be a good example to the others. So you cannot be...
It was that serious?
Yes, you cannot be getting 0.8 in chemistry.
Yeah.
Please.
And anything starting with a 0 was considered 0.
Of course. Because is it the same head that is getting 100% in the history,
geography?
Yeah. And in fact, I was not good in geography. Because I think geography also has a bit of science.
Yes.
I was very good in English, Swahili, did I say history?
Yes.
There was a CRE, business studies.
Yes.
I was very good.
Yes.
But then now I have started feeling a certain type of way. And I feel like, am I now going to become a failure out of this? That's when I started researching in the library. What can I be
with this strength?
With my strength. And in the library, there were very good books. I went and there were career books. And I always used to go and look at the cluster that does not require any science. And in fact, I remember we were able to get... That's how I came up. I was either going to be a lawyer, I was either going to do public administration, or I was going to do education. Because those are the things that I was able to...
Yeah, they just require you to focus on humanities.
Yes. So, but otherwise, I was... In high school, I was in leadership all the way to Form 4.
So you never changed the high school?
I did not change high school.
Was there that option?
No, there was no option of changing. And I think also from my background, we did not have the luxury of being moved around. You go where you where you have been invited, you go there. That is where you are going to finish your school. So I went to Kianyaga and studied in Kianyaga and finished until
Form 4.
Until Form 4.
Yeah.
And at Form 4, I was school captain in charge of environment. And it was a nice experience, especially being in leadership. I enjoyed the leadership thoroughly.
Do you think you changed the Kianyaga?
I did.
Contributed to the change they have now?
Oh, completely. Because even when I go, I still find the trees that we planted, the flowers we planted. There are these flowers that are fence-like. So
just trim them well, and
we
they will remain.
trimmed them well. And during my tenure, the place was cleaned because I was not a joke. If you had a business to do, you had to clean. I remember now being among the senior captains. We lived in a place called State House. And now here, at AT, we also
live in State House.
We also live in State House.
White House.
in White House.
Yeah.
We used to live in State House. And we used to live 3 captains.
Yes.
The senior school captain, the school captain in charge of dining hall, and the school captain in charge of environment. And we were given luxuries.
Were there like small cubes for you? Or?
Yes, it was a nice house for us with a washroom and an ablution block for us. And of course, now we had nice lockers. We used to eat preferential food.
Top layer.
Top layer. We did not line up. If it was meat, we were eating more than the others. But then I think one thing I enjoyed, and I think I realized that from my days in primary school, is that I'm very passionate about leadership. I'm passionate about ensuring that people get value for what they pay. Basically, people are able to move in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I cherished leadership a lot because as a leader in primary school, I was able to also come up with a lot of changes. In high school, I was also able to come up with a lot of changes and positivity. And that's when I realized in leadership, sometimes people don't appreciate you, but they will see the things that you've actually done. And I realized it's very lonely at the top.
Yeah. So it's more of action than just, talk and having a good time.
Because I was the kind of leader or the prefect at that time who I did not know how to go behind the tent, do things another way.
Yeah.
And at times, and I remember I even got a nickname. They used to call me Mutembi Bokono.
Because that's the set book you guys did.
We used the set book.
Kifo Kisimani.
And Mutembi Bokono was the leader of Butangi. And I remember this, one of my very good friends now is called Kuria.
Moses?
No, not Moses Kuria. It's called Kuria. I'm forgetting his other name.
Okay.
We were classmates. I think that name came from him and another friend of mine called David. David Modi. They nicknamed me that because I was not moved. I was focused. Even when they called me, they did not call me names in my hearing. They used to tease other prefects as they hear. But nobody ever dared confront me and tease me or say this or that. Because they thought this guy is going to send me home. We actually send people home.
Oh,
yes.
You guys had those powers.
We had the power to tell the deputy president, this fellow
needs to be suspended.
Yes, in fact, I remember one person was suspended just by trying to say something those days. Yeah, but I think leadership for me,
it's about the change.
It's about the change, and it really defined who I was, at that time. Yeah,
interesting. So you pass your KCSE.
Yes.
Where were you invited?
I was not invited anywhere.
You invited yourself. You find your way to where you wanted to be.
So what happened? I actually did not get those days. The university grade was B+
and above. B+ of 74.
Yes. So what I got, I passed, but I did not qualify to be called. Those days it was to be called Joint Admission Board. JAB. I did not get admission to go to JAB. Now, what was I supposed to do? Looking at my family background,
and you want to be a lawyer?
I want to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
But looking at my family background, there was no way those guys were going to pay the monies that were required
for
parallel program. In fact, when you talk of parallel program, it was for the rich people.
Yeah, and actually, law school is a bit expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
So, those days we used to have a year, after you finish, a gap year. So when I finished...
Actually, it's almost 2 years.
It was
1 year, 7 months, 8 months.
Thereabout. So when I finished primary, Kianyaga High School, I went and enrolled and became a teacher.
Untrained teacher in high school?
Untrained teacher. And this time it was
Same school or different school?
Different. So actually, I enrolled in one of the schools in Kirinyaga, a private boarding school. And that is where my life began as an untrained teacher. And I they used to call me Mr. Karuga. The kids adored me. They loved me. And I remember that is where my life actually began. Because my first house was next to the school. It was a timber house. So it has a bit of concrete. Then it is timber. But it has mianyas. You can see. If you don't put a curtain and you're showering, your neighbor is going to see. So it was that, and there was no electricity. It was a tar.
The lantern.
And that is where I began my life. With the lantern. So when I came from home.
And a transparent life.
It was very transparent. So when I came from the village,
yes,
I was given a lantern, a stove, a bed, and a reading table.
And you are told, start the life.
And the bed I got was the bed that was being used in the 70s at my grandmother's house.
By your parent or by the...
by the children in the house, those days.
Yeah.
Maybe my parents, my mother. But it was, those... It was not the beds today where they have bolts and nuts. So in fact, when you remove, there was no... How would I put it? I can't.
Was it those bolts were wooden or?
Very good.
Yeah. I know those bolts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those bolts were wooden.
Yeah, my grandparent actually is a carpenter and used to make those, and they were really, really strong beds.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those beds had been used from the 70s, if not the 60s.
Yeah. And they were still intact.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my rent was 500 shillings. And my neighbors, you could hear the next neighbor. Whatever the neighbor was doing, you could hear. If someone had a visitor at night, you could hear. When you look at when you put on your lantern, when someone is outside, they can see through your cubicle. And because of the iron sheets, the place was so hot. Iron sheets and the timber. The house was extremely hot.
Especially during the day.
During the day, it was extreme. You could not... And now there were no windows.
Were they provided by the school or just a rental?
It was a rental, just outside the school. So I could...
Close by, yeah.
I was required to be in class very early in the morning.
Okay.
So I could not...
And this is high school or primary?
Primary.
Okay.
It's a primary school. And the most devastating place, the most devastating thing about this place, I've said it does not have electricity, is that we did not even have proper bathrooms. Because I remember the actual bathrooms were the same. The bathroom and bathroom here, I mean, let me use the toilet and where you shower.
They're separated by a wall.
They are but it was basically the same thing because now you find where you're going to put your karai. And it was a messy place.
Because no one takes responsibility of cleaning the place.
Nobody could clean the place.
Yeah.
So what we used to do, because now the toilet, it was a mess.
Yeah.
Because you come and find people who have done their business up there.
Man.
And you want to shower in the morning.
So, wait a minute. So the toilet and the bathroom were the same place. There was not even a wall or anything.
Yes, it was the same place.
So if someone is showering,
yes,
someone cannot do their business.
You cannot do the business. And it is it's the pit latrine. So you have to put...
the karai covers the...
Yes, the pit.
It was a pit latrine.
Yes, you cover the pit latrine. Now after you're done, so before you go, you have to wash the place. So you can imagine how that place looks. So what we started doing, there was one of the houses that was not occupied. In that land, because there were like 4 or 5 houses in that small plot.
Yeah, that sounds like a plot 10.
It's a
I don't know if you have ever heard of plot 10 in Nairobi.
In fact, we used to call the place plot 10.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So, one of the houses at the very edge became our bathroom. But now what we used to do, that I think it was constructed badly because when the water, all of it used to come.
The drainage was bad.
The drainage was very bad. So when you go to shower, you have to go with the kifagio. So you have to wash the place.
Drain the place.
Drain the place first. Because there was someone else who had showered. And you can imagine now you're not going to go and...
start swimming before you shower.
So that was the kind of mess.
Yeah.
That was the kind of mess we were in.
And this did not deter your determination to,
It did
I
not.
have a vision.
It did not. In fact,
Yeah.
something I forgot to mention is that at the age of 17, when I was still in high school, I started writing a book.
Okay.
I've published 2 books.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
So I published my first book at the age of 17
Yes.
and my second book at the age of 21.
Yes.
So what happened, when I was still now a teacher, I was teaching English and science.
Yes.
And I remember the children I used to teach, I used to come up with songs to help them remember. And in fact, now that I talk about it, I remember fondly one song that I used to sing to them. Shem, Ham, Japheth, Shem, Ham, Japheth, sons of Noah. Amen means, let it be so. Because I used to teach CRE, science, and English. And the kids used to love it because we used to dance in the class so that they can remember
Memorability.
the memory. But then I was so tired by the end of the day. It was so tiring.
Yes.
But I knew this was not where I wanted to be.
Yes. Absolutely. So when we come back shortly, we'll be able to delve into why didn't you lose the focus? And also you'll tell us about the books because I never knew about the books. Yes.
Quick pause, folks. We're stepping into a brief interlude, but stay tuned because after the break, we dive deeper into the incredible journey of our guest. Meanwhile, we'd like to send a massive shout out to our sponsors for empowering this exchange of ideas and innovation. We'll be right back on Impact Masters. Subscribe, follow, and share. Check us out at www.impactmasters.io